Hello Galactic Family. Our life is lived in cycles. What we start with will eventually end. And what will end with will have to be started anew. If we are aware that our life continually is about endings and beginnings, we would learn to stay in the present more and enjoy these times. The cycles of life are like the cycles of nature. Many of us are waiting for the end of the story of some goals that we miss the middle of the sandwich, the meat. Enjoying the process of creation will make the life process more palpable. If we are always looking to the future, you miss the present moment. The present moment is ironically where the seed of creation lies. Life on Earth makes you constantly plan, set goals and invest in the future through material means. This is necessary and important as you live in a physical universe. As you are planning, also plan a connection to your soul. That means to listen in every day and then enjoy the process of exploring and planning. Enjoy the energy of imagining and daydreaming. Know that when you are beginning something new it will end, and when you are ending a beginning will be right around the corner. Enjoy the results of your creations. Really relish the moment and the final accomplishments. Admire yourself and what you created from ideas into form. It is like admiring an art piece by taking in all the nuances and subtleties of the artwork. Taking a breath in and out. When I was in Egypt, I often admired the beauty of the pyramids. It would help me to observe all I had achieved and all the great potential of our next tasks. As a leader then I had to inspire people to become motivated to create more desired outcomes and cultivate inspirations. It was a powerful time, but we often in Egypt spent time admiring the vast buildings and pyramids that were made by our ancestors to remind us of our majesty and remind us of the power of creation. Many workers would take days and months and years to finish a chamber or an inscription on a room or wall. They were in the process of working for something higher and in the glory of manifestation. If you are on an ascension journey, you must use your mind to be more conscious of your choices, actions and of time. Where does your mind wander and where do you go with your thoughts? Take control of how your thoughts are the architect of your existence in 5D. If you are more in the process of actively creating, you will feel more peace and begin to ascend. The process of ascension is to understand this experience of life as a training of beginning and ending. In that realization you will begin the process of ascension to continue your journey in a higher plane. Ascension is the key of every soul, but make it a priority for yourself and you will begin to feel more peaceful day by day. I present to you this day as the energy consciousness of the eclipse pattern you know as the ring of fire. I am the portent, the sign and signifier of the energy of Christed consciousness. Ascension energy made manifest by your desire to achieve ascension. All who came here for this time and space moment brought within you the encoding of the ring of fire, knowing it as a marker, a doorway, a catalyst. Those of you who have worked diligently to become aware of your shadow side, bringing light to the words, thoughts and actions that are programmed by fear instead of love, have already ascended through your personal ring of fire. That you do not see it yet does not mean it has not yet happened. You are the way showers who came here to create the bridge between heaven and earth, the rainbow light bridge of ascension in human form. Each time you dipped into fear programming, you laid a brick on the energetic pathway of the ascension bridge. I appear to confirm to you, the way showers, the light holders, that this phase of your work is done. You have arrived at your destination. Enjoy the relief of a job well done. You are soon to experience the higher vibrational energies that you left eons ago in order to come here for this now moment, this act of service to Gaia, humanity and beyond. It has taken you countless lifetimes to set up this now moment, as you had to delve deep into the karma and density of Earth. Then you turned around and begin to move into integration and release, to create this moment of global and galactic release. Yes, the seed point is of crucial importance within every aspect of the all that is. But, you may whisper, I'm not perfect. There's a lot I have still to integrate. I am here to confirm for you, you are perfect. Imperfection is an illusion. It is not about the perfection of your thoughts, words and actions. You are still influenced by the energies of others who have not yet completed their integration process. It is about perfection of trust, perfection of commitment. It is about the willingness to turn up and look at the darkness within, to acknowledge the thoughts, words and actions where fear is stronger than love. You are no longer afraid of your fears, for you know love is at the base of every thought, word and action. This is the perfection you volunteered to manifest. In the period between these two eclipses, you will be prepared. You will see how all that seemed so deeply set on your lives, partners, children, home, job, friends, finances, talents, passions is actually a reflection of the old energy. Anything that no longer serves you will be moved from your life. Every aspect of your life was an energetic marker, external symbols reflecting the work you were called to see, accept and release. That work, that chapter is now done. So much will change, evolve and disappear with grace and speed. You would be surprised to know how intricately every aspect, every single detail of your life is managed in this process, by your higher self and the consciousness of all that is. There is not one tiny aspect that is ignored. You are moving into a period of great flow, of the manifestation of your highest dreams, of the expression of your heart song in every moment. This was a monumental undertaking. You will very soon get to enjoy the graces, the gifts both subtle and physical that have been held in trust for you, for this moment. Breathe deeply of your inner peace. Treasure the knowingness, however small it might be, that you have done it. You have arrived at the finish line. My dearest brothers and sisters, this is Tunia speaking. I love you so very much. From my perspective, it is weird that you have many words that have multiple meanings. To us, this just seems like it would lead to unnecessary confusion, or it would give unnecessary ammunition to those who seek to manipulate others. Why not just have one word that means one thing, and then have another word that means another thing? A large amount of confusion and dysfunctional policy is created because one word has multiple meanings. For example, what is a free market? Well, sometimes a free market is defined as a market that is free from government interference. And sometimes a free market is defined as a market that is efficient and transparent and has healthy competition, and where companies face consequences if they sell dangerous products, or if they pollute to an unacceptable degree, or if they expose their employees to unacceptable levels of risk. In the second definition, there is some level of government oversight, but not an excessive amount of it. But the thing is, in practice, these definitions are often mutually exclusive, at least at your current level of consciousness. If a market is free from government interference, then you will have monopolies, where companies increase the price and decrease the quality of their products, because that maximizes profits. If a market is free from government interference, you will have companies selling dangerous products or poisoning rivers or exposing their employees to unacceptable levels of risk. Therefore, this market will not be efficient. Conversely, if the market is free from monopolies and free from companies being exploitative or destructive, then almost certainly there has to be a level of government involvement to enforce that. At least, there has to be at your current level of consciousness. Fortunately, your level of consciousness is rising quickly. So you have free market, meaning simultaneously market free from government oversight, and competitive, efficient market, But those two things are in practice often mutually exclusive at your current level of consciousness. So you can see how you can have wildly unproductive conversations this way. One person says to have a free market we must have a smaller government, and if they use one definition, they're right. Another person says to have a free market we must have more government oversight to stop businesses from exploiting people in a particular way, and if they use another definition, they're also right. Or it can lead to people completely deregulating an industry, because then it's a free market, and free markets are efficient, right? However, in that one sentence, the term free market is used with two wildly different meanings. Deregulated markets are free markets in a sense, but they're not efficient markets. Free markets are only efficient if they're free in some level of government oversight sense. Of course, there's also such a thing as too much regulation. Indeed, most countries are currently overregulated. At your current level of consciousness, it's optimal to have some level of regulation, more than the free market true believers want, and less than the mainstream left wants. So you see that when one word has multiple meanings, this can lead to confusion or bad policy or inaccurate predictions. This issue becomes even more severe when people intentionally start redefining or misusing words to achieve certain outcomes, in an Orwellian way. For example, people who spend a lot of time talking about diversity sometimes don't value diversity of thought. People who spend a lot of time talking about tolerance sometimes don't tolerate those who disagree with them. People who talk a lot about equality are sometimes actively opposed to equality for men or white people in those specific areas where they are disadvantaged. In Germany there was talk of banning a political party, just about the most undemocratic thing you can do in order to protect democracy. Similarly, some people on the right call people communists to discredit them even if it hasn't been established that they actually are communists. Just being left-wing and in favor of a relatively large government isn't enough to make someone a communist. Still, James Lindsay says, communists share your vocabulary but they don't share your dictionary. While I think the label communist sometimes gets over-applied, it is true that the left sometimes has wildly different meanings for seemingly normal and seemingly well-defined words. In this way, they can dog whistle, or they can suggest policies that seem reasonable but turn out to be a Trojan horse once accepted. For example, the left might talk about equality, which is of course a good principle, but then it sometimes turns out that equality is a dog whistle for black people quotas. So, how can you as an individual navigate this situation? The best thing you can do, especially if you suspect that someone is trying to manipulate through language, is to ask people to define their terms. And not just ask for the meanings for obscure or highly complicated terms, but also ask for meanings for seemingly obvious terms. You talk about equality. What is equality? And don't accept a definition like equality means people being equal that doesn't actually spell out the boundaries of what the word applies to. Ask them to be specific. According to you, does X fit in your definition? According to you, does Y fit in your definition? Are black people quotas part of your definition of equality? Are reparations part of your definition of equality? And once people have defined their terms, hold them to those definitions. Make sure that they don't switch definitions halfway through their argument. And make sure that people don't use associations that only apply to one sense of the word, but not to the sense of the word that they're using. For example, don't let a right-winger get away with saying free markets are efficient, therefore the market will become more efficient if we deregulate it. Free markets are only efficient if the word free market is used in the some government oversight sense, but then the switch is made to the free markets are deregulated markets sense later in the argument. A rhetorical trick that is often used is called the motte and bailey. Historically, the bailey was a hard-to-defend courtyard, which was linked to the motte. The motte was an easy-to-defend keep. So if you're attacked in a motte and bailey castle, you can retreat to the motte because that's really easy to defend. Similarly, someone might say that equality is good, and if you agree, they'll try to ram through black people quotas. If you disagree with them, they'll retreat to their easy-to-defend motte, and they'll say that of course we shouldn't discriminate against black people. What are you, a racist? So in other words, they'll use the word equality to mean black people quotas, but as soon as you disagree with them, they retreat to their easy-to-defend motte and they start defending the position of it's not okay to fire someone for being black. And then if they win the argument, they'll implement black people quotas. Some policies have been rammed through this way, even though most people didn't want those policies. In other words, they switch definitions of the word equality as convenient for them. And that's why you ask them to define their terms. Because then they can switch. Then they either have to make the case for black people quotas an unpopular position, or they have to make the case for let's not openly discriminate but then be unable to switch gears and implement black people quotas. So you ask people to clearly define their terms, and to be clear about which things do and don't fall into the definition according to them. It's not specific enough to say equality is the state of people being equal. You say, person who uses the word equality, according to you, is it equality to have black people quotas, yes or no? Is it equality to have reparations, yes or no? Some people use needlessly complicated words or long sentences, or use sentences that don't actually say anything if you look closely at them. Usually these people are either trying to manipulate, or they're trying to appear smarter than they actually are. Actually smart people are concise and use clear language. And whether a person is trying to manipulate or they're simply not that intelligent, in both cases it helps to ask them to define their terms. Be willing to look like a fool doing this. You may feel silly asking people to define seemingly obvious words, but this is how you get clarity between two well-intentioned parties, or this is how you avoid being manipulated by a malicious actor. If you feel embarrassed about asking someone to define a seemingly obvious term, you can always think that asking is being as a king. Asking, as king, as king, as a king. Saying that asking is being as a king may sound somewhat silly, but asking to define terms can encourage thought and discussion and it can dramatically improve clarity and the quality of a debate. If the person you're talking to is actually interested in sharpening their arguments or being nudged to think more deeply, as opposed to wanting to just win the debate, they may very well appreciate you asking them to define terms. When we're talking about verbal manipulation, another tactic that is used all the time is intentionally trying to create an artificial link between the thing you want to promote and good things, and the thing you want to demonize and bad things. For example, a certain TV series shows exactly one person complaining about cancel culture, and this person is a racist who literally murders black people for no reason. And when he's being held accountable for his murders he complains about cancel culture. Hence the average viewer comes away with the impression that people who oppose cancel culture are all murderous racists, and that cancel culture is the justified holding to account of awful people. When in reality, even people opposing cancel culture are generally fine with murderous racists being held accountable. The type of cancel culture that I and some people oppose is, for example, people being deplatformed merely for having a politically incorrect opinion, or for disagreeing with the official narrative. Even scientists and experts get hit by cancel culture and are deplatformed, for the crime of doing science and finding results that don't agree with the official narrative. When I write it out like this it may sound silly, but this kind of manipulation is actually a surprisingly effective way to debunk certain concepts or positions in the mind of your average person. If you show an average person a few of these kinds of TV shows, they will likely genuinely believe that cancel culture either doesn't exist or is justified, without ever listening to the arguments of people who oppose cancel culture. Again, when you are in a discussion about cancel culture, it helps to both define what things are and what things aren't cancel culture. It's not very easy to deal with this, because so many people use that trick on all ends of the political spectrum. Even if someone doesn't intentionally try to manipulate, they'll still probably show certain things in a good light and certain things in a bad light. It's a rare show or movie or book or argument indeed who presents both sides of the argument in their strongest form. For example, when the left talks about immigrants, they often talk about children who come from areas where there is war or starvation. When the right talks about immigrants, they often talk about men of fighting age, or at least about adult men who weren't in danger in their home country and who simply wanted better economic opportunities. Of course, these descriptions generate completely different emotional responses. And most people present immigrants as either people and children fleeing from death, or as adult men who are just after better economic opportunities and who are possibly dangerous. Most people want to push a certain agenda or political message, and therefore only show what supports that. It's rare for someone to show or acknowledge both sides of an argument. This ties into a point that we made in earlier messages. Ideally you are able to present an argument for both sides of the discussion, one that is so high quality that people who sincerely have that view would say you are doing a good job. Another way in which discussions often derail is when one side gives 3 reasons, and the other side spends all their time completely destroying the weakest of the 3 reasons, while ignoring the 2 stronger reasons. This sounds silly if I say it like this, but the side that relentlessly attacks the weakest reason often looks like the discussion winner to the average Joe. One way you can deal with this is to simply omit relatively weak reasons and only present your strongest reasons. Yes, I know, theoretically 1 weak plus 2 strong reasons should have more weight than just 2 strong reasons, but this is not how it often works in practice. Most people don't debate in good faith, unfortunately. Most people don't debate to learn or to come closer to the truth, they debate to win, and they're willing to use underhanded debate tactics to do so. Another debate issue is that people often don't actually debate the position of the other side, instead they debate an easy-to-dismantle strawman. Again, define your terms and be clear what is and isn't part of your definitions. In theory, you should actually be debating not a strawman but a steelman, which is the best version of the other side's argument. So if they say something, you first mentally improve their argument to the strongest version possible, and then you evaluate that steelman version of their argument. This is debating in super good faith, and if you do this, you will make rapid progress towards more truth and nuance. As for how you can improve the quality of your own arguments, you can ask yourself if you would still have the same opinion if the people involved were gender swapped or nationality swapped or political party swapped. If not, you might want to think about what your underlying principles are, and then apply those consistently. If you actually formulate principles and then actually apply those consistently, then you will be a great example for others indeed, and you may be able to draw strength from your principles. People often pretend to be even-handed, but in reality only give lip service to the well-being of one group while actively speaking out for the well-being of another group. That's actually not even-handed at all. If there is a conflict and both sides are doing bad things, but you only ever speak out to condemn the bad things that one side does, then you are not being fair. If at one specific moment in time it's clear that it's one side doing the bad thing, then alright, you can say that's bad, period. And you shouldn't make excuses for the bad thing, because the bad thing is bad. However, if the other side then later does something bad, you should for fairness sake also speak out against that. It's absolutely possible that at one specific moment in time, one side is clearly in the wrong. And it's fine to point that out, without trying to justify the bad thing. But if you speak up then, but never speak up during moments when the other side is doing bad things, then you're not being a part of the solution. What Earth humans love to do is to create a narrative where history starts at the precise point where their dislike group does something bad. And then all the bad things that their group does are justified because of that earlier bad thing. Well, that's not a productive way to argue, because then the other side just says that history starts at the precise point that supports their narrative, and then says that all the bad things their side does are justified. If you accept that logic of we can do bad things because they did bad things first, then both sides will just pretend that history starts at the precise point when the other side did a bad thing. And then both sides will feel justified in doing bad things. So that doesn't work. In reality, people simply shouldn't do bad things, such as hurting innocent civilians of another side. Even if the other side has killed your civilians, that doesn't justify you killing civilians of another side. So, about the current Israel-Hamas conflict, if you have only ever actively spoken up about the bad things that one side has done, but have never spoken up about the bad things that the other side has done, then in my personal opinion you are not helping. If you don't outright say that it was wrong that Hamas killed Israeli civilians, period, then in my personal opinion you are not helping. If you think that Israel is justified in killing civilians right now because of what Hamas did, then in my personal opinion you are also not helping. This is the history starts at the precise point when it's convenient for my narrative fallacy we discussed earlier. In reality, people shouldn't kill civilians even if the other side killed civilians first. If you want to argue that Israel gets to kill Palestinian civilians now because of what Hamas did previously, then Hamas can say they were justified because of what Israel did previously. So that's just not a productive way to move forward. Yes, what Hamas did was wrong, but that doesn't mean that it's now justified for Israel to kill civilians themselves. Two wrongs don't make a right. Note that about half of all Palestinians are under 18, and right now many children are dying because of what Israel is doing. Obviously it's not justified to kill Palestinian children, which is what Israel is currently doing, because some Palestinians have murdered Israeli citizens. Those children are innocent, and that's about half of the population. Not every Palestinian is a murderous Hamas fighter. You don't get to kill Palestinian children just because some Palestinians murder Israeli citizens. Two wrongs don't make a right. Often it is said, Israel has a right to defend itself. This ties into our earlier point about definitions. Now, yes, when taken at face value, it's certainly true that Israel has a right to defend itself. But if someone says Israel has a right to defend itself, ask them to define what exactly doesn't fall into that definition, according to them. Does the person saying Israel has a right to defend itself think that Israel is justified in killing Palestinian civilians now, to potentially save Israeli lives later? If yes, does that person think that Israeli lives are more valuable than Palestinian lives? Also, once someone has defined what having a right to defend itself means, ask them, does Palestine also have a right to defend itself? There is a laundry list of reasons that Palestine could cite as being sufficient reason for it to defend itself, which apparently means killing civilians of the other side at least. That's how Israel is currently using the right to defend itself. So then, do both sides have a valid reason to kill civilians on the other side? Some Israelis are effectively claiming that it's acceptable for them to kill Palestinian civilians because that makes Israelis safer. Well, if Palestinians also claim that it's acceptable for them to kill Israeli citizens because that makes Palestinians safer, then the result is a conflict that only ends once one side ethnically cleanses the other side. So logically speaking, people shouldn't be allowed to kill civilians even if that makes them safer, because that doesn't lead to a good place. Unless the actual unspoken position is that Israeli lives are more valuable than Palestinian lives, however that is of course a very racist position to take. People also often subconsciously label one group as good and one group as bad. And then when the bad group does bad things, that's definitive proof that the good guys can treat them harshly. But when the good guys do bad things, that's either a mistake, or an unfortunate necessity. But this is very much motivated reasoning. If you don't presuppose that one group is good, then the bad actions by the so-called good group suddenly don't look so good anymore. So, killing civilians is wrong, period. You can't justify the present-day killing of civilians by saying that the other side killed civilians first, in the past. This applies to both sides. Hamas shouldn't have killed Israeli citizens, and there is no "but Israel did this" that justifies that. Israel shouldn't kill Palestinian civilians, as it is doing now, and there is no "but Hamas did this" that justifies that. In the longer term, the situation can only be resolved in two ways. Either one side ethnically cleanses the other out of the contested lands, which would of course be a horrible outcome. Or the people learn to live together in peace. To take a step towards peace, there should be a ceasefire and both sides should stop killing the civilians of the other side, directly and indirectly. Israel has already killed more Palestinians in retaliation bombings since the assault than Hamas killed during their assault. Israel already has its revenge. It's time for the bloodshed to stop. It's easy to say we must continue to fight and kill Hamas terrorists, but it's really hard to distinguish a Palestinian who is willing to kill Israeli civilians from a Palestinian who is innocent. What continuing to fight means in practice is killing lots of innocent Palestinian civilians, half of whom are children. And killing more Palestinian civilians will only create more Palestinians who are willing to kill Israeli civilians. I'm not saying that they would be justified in killing Israeli civilians, but still, war begets war and violence begets violence. Harming others ultimately doesn't make you safer, in the long term. Both sides currently feel so unsafe and have so many legitimate grievances that it's understandable that they wish to damage the other side so much that the other side can't hurt them anymore. I understand the impulse. But that is not the way forward. People don't have a right to kill civilians on the other side just because that allegedly improves their own security situation. Yes, people may defend themselves, but that does not include directly or indirectly killing civilians on the other side because that might save the lives of your own people in the future. That is not actually defense, under any sensible definition of the word defense. That just leads to an endless cycle of violence. The way forward is that no one should kill the civilians of the other side, directly or indirectly. Wanting revenge or wanting more safety for yourself isn't a valid reason to kill civilians on the other side, or force civilians on the other side to endure conditions that very well may lead to their death. International law should be applied to the region. And note that Israeli settlements in occupied territories are clearly illegal under international law. Even Wikipedia admits that, on the Wikipedia page, international law and Israeli settlements. This means that at the very least, Israel should immediately stop building new illegal settlements. Not after the current conflict is over, but immediately. You don't get to violate international law just because that allegedly makes you safer, or just because the other side did bad things in the past. If those were valid reasons, then practically every country would get to violate international law. I get that many people on Israel's side consider it to be unacceptable for the building of new settlements to end. But this conflict is either going to end with ethnic cleansing or it's going to end with peace. And to get peace, both sides should stop killing civilians of the other side, both directly and indirectly, and international law should be applied. It's not realistic to say that you are in favor of peace but then continue to violate international law. Americans and people in other countries could argue that their country simply should not donate money to countries that violate international law, as determined by the UN. This is a very reasonable sounding position that is hard to argue against. And this position also means that their country shouldn't donate money to Israel so long as Israel keeps building new settlements. And it would actually make Israel safer if it stopped building new settlements, because that would go a long way towards diffusing tensions. If Israel announced today that it was no longer building new settlements, then probably peace would be established more quickly, and fewer people, including fewer Israelis, would die. It's easy to say that of course Israel should be fully supported right now, but in the current context, that would mean lots of bloodshed, which would make Israel less safe in the long run. Sometimes, being a true friend means saying, no, this path you're currently on isn't a good idea, and I'm not going to enable you. We think it's productive to ask yourselves, do you want the conflict in this region to be resolved through peace or through ethnic cleansing? If you want this conflict to be resolved through peace, then the path forward isn't enabling one side as it is killing civilians of the other side, as Israel is currently doing. And again, Israel since the Hamas assault has already killed more people than Hamas did during recent assault. If you want this conflict to be resolved through peace, then the path forward is a ceasefire and having the international community push both sides to follow international law. While those things wouldn't immediately solve all the underlying problems, they would be good first steps on a path that would actually make both Palestine and Israel safer in the medium term. Very many people right now are in my thoughts. I've been looking at the situation and it's awful. We're currently taking steps behind the scenes to nudge both sides towards peace. As for myself, I will continue sending my loving energy to the region. I love you so very much. Tunia. The ever-revolving cycles of life, filled with both endings and beginnings, offer a profound perspective on the intricate tapestry of existence. As we journey through life's myriad experiences, it becomes evident that our path is marked by constant transitions and transformations. The ebb and flow of our existence, akin to the rhythms of nature, carries with it invaluable lessons about the present moment, creation, and the essence of ascension. In a world driven by the pursuit of goals and aspirations, it is all too easy to become preoccupied with the final outcome. We often fixate on reaching the destination while disregarding the significance of the journey itself. The result is a continuous rush towards the future, leaving the present moment unexplored and unappreciated. But in our haste to secure what lies ahead, we overlook the seed of creation nestled in the present. Life on Earth inevitably demands that we plan, establish goals, and invest in the future through material means. It is a necessary facet of existence in the physical universe. Yet, in the midst of this planning and striving, we must also nurture a connection to our soul. It requires a conscious effort to listen to the inner self daily and relish the process of exploration and planning. Imagination and daydreaming become vital energies to enjoy as we create and shape our desires. Acknowledging that every beginning carries within it the seed of its end, and each end signifies a fresh beginning, allows us to appreciate the present moment in all its potential. During my time in Egypt, I frequently marveled at the awe-inspiring pyramids. These grand monuments served as a constant reminder of our ancestors' accomplishments and the power of creation. The laborers who dedicated days, months, and years to carve chambers and inscriptions on walls did so in the pursuit of something greater. They toiled in the glory of manifestation, inspired by the vision of a higher purpose. As a leader in that time, my role often required me to inspire and motivate people to create desired outcomes and nurture inspiration. Although it was a powerful period, we, the Egyptians, spent moments in reverence of the colossal structures that stood as a testament to our majesty. They reminded us of our capacity for creation. The intricate nuances and subtleties of artwork, much like light's creations, deserved admiration. Each accomplishment is a work of art, molded from ideas into tangible form. Just as an art lover appreciates every brushstroke and detail in a painting, we should savor the final accomplishment, taking a deep breath in and out. If one is on an ascension journey, the mind plays a pivotal role in shaping conscious choices, actions, and perceptions of time. An awakened mind understands where thoughts wander and guides them in a purposeful direction. Taking control of one's thoughts ensures that they become the architects of existence in the fifth dimension. Actively participating in the process of creation fosters inner peace and facilitates the journey of ascension. Ascension signifies understanding life as a training ground for beginnings and endings. This realization is the key to embarking on the path of ascension to higher planes of existence. While ascension is a universal journey for all souls, prioritizing it leads to an increase in daily peace and fulfillment. Today, I present to you the energy consciousness of the eclipse pattern known as the Ring of Fire. It is the embodiment of Christed consciousness, representing the energy of ascension birthed through the desire for higher spiritual evolution. All those who have incarnated at this precise moment in time brought with them the encoding of the Ring of Fire. It serves as a marker, a doorway, and a catalyst for transformation. Those who have diligently confronted their shadow aspects, illuminating thoughts, words, and actions rooted in fear rather than love, have already transcended their personal Ring of Fire. Even if this transition isn't immediately apparent, it has indeed occurred. The collective of way-showers, light-bearers, and truth-seekers assembled here are the bridge builders between the earthly realm and the higher dimensions. Each time you ventured into the depths of fear-based programming, you contributed to the construction of the energetic pathway for the Ascension Bridge. I appear to confirm to you, the way-showers, the light-bearers, and the truth-seekers, that this phase of your work is complete. You have reached your destination. Take solace in the satisfaction of a job well done. You are on the cusp of experiencing higher vibrational energies that you temporarily left behind to serve Gaia, humanity, and beyond. Preparing for this moment spanned countless lifetimes, delving deep into the karmic density of Earth and then transitioning into a phase of integration and release. This monumental act of global and galactic release stands as a pivotal point within the tapestry of the all that is. You might wonder, but I'm not perfect. I have much to integrate. I am here to affirm that you are perfect. Imperfection is but an illusion. It is not about perfecting every thought, word, or action. It is about perfecting trust, perfecting commitment, and nurturing the willingness to face your shadows without fear. You have arrived at the perfection you willingly agreed to manifest. In the period between these two eclipses, you will be prepared for the influx of higher vibrational energies. Everything that once seemed deeply rooted in your lives, such as relationships, children, homes, jobs, friendships, finances, talents, and passions, is a reflection of the old energetic frequency. Anything that no longer serves your path will be gracefully and swiftly removed from your life. Every aspect of your life served as an energetic marker, an external symbol of the inner work you were destined to undertake. This chapter is now complete. Significant transformations, evolutions, and graceful dissolutions await you. The upcoming period is characterized by great flow, the manifestation of your loftiest dreams, and the harmonious expression of your heart song in every moment. This has been a monumental undertaking, and you are soon to enjoy the graces and gifts, both subtle and tangible, that have been held in trust for this momentous time. Breathe deeply into your inner peace, treasure your profound knowingness, however small it may seem, and recognize that you have indeed reached the finish line. From my perspective, the intricacies of your language often appear perplexing. The existence of words with multiple meanings, while a rich tapestry for expression, can lead to confusion and manipulation. Why not have a singular word to convey a single, specific concept, free from the ambiguity that fosters manipulation or misunderstanding? The ambiguity of language can indeed be a double-edged sword, granting a multitude of creative expressions, yet also permitting those with ulterior motives to distort and mislead. One word with multiple meanings can be a breeding ground for manipulation, fostering misconceptions and granting leverage to those who seek to influence others. For instance, the phrase free market embodies two distinct definitions. On one hand, it signifies a market devoid of government intervention, while on the other, it conveys an efficient and transparent market characterized by healthy competition and accountability, often requiring some level of government oversight. However, these definitions often contradict each other in practice. A government-free market may lead to monopolies and exploitative practices, counter to the ideal of an efficient and transparent market. Conversely, a market free from monopolies and exploitative behaviors necessitates some degree of government involvement to enforce these conditions. At your current level of consciousness, striking a balance is paramount. A degree of regulation is essential, but it should be more restrained than advocated by staunch proponents of government intervention. Intricacies of language also extend to other aspects of your discussions. Concepts such as diversity, tolerance, and equality may be weaponized or misrepresented. People who champion diversity may inadvertently suppress diversity of thought. Advocates of tolerance may not tolerate dissenting opinions, undermining the very principle they uphold. Those striving for equality may paradoxically neglect specific inequalities present in society. It is crucial to request clear and precise definitions of terms during conversations. This practice encourages clarity and prevents intentional or unintentional manipulation. Asking for concise definitions of seemingly obvious words ensures a shared understanding of the terminology being used. You must be willing to appear inquisitive to promote thoughtful discourse and minimize manipulation. Manipulation often extends to creating associations between ideas, linking one's agenda with virtuous concepts while demonizing opposing viewpoints. In this manner, individuals may distort perception, leading to ill-informed beliefs. Using words to forge connections between the desired and the despised can be a potent tool for manipulation. Strategies to combat these tactics involve requesting the definition of terms, prompting clear boundaries, and advocating for a comprehensive discussion that addresses all facets of an argument. Engaging in debates with good faith, understanding Steelman and strawman arguments, and striving to present both sides fairly are steps toward constructive dialogue. Moreover, misdirection often arises when one side refutes the weakest arguments of the opposition while disregarding the stronger points. Debates become more effective when arguments are refined and presented at their zenith, eliminating weaker points that detract from the main argument. Language manipulation is prevalent across the political spectrum, creating challenges in honest discourse. The misuse of words to advance an agenda necessitates vigilance in seeking clarity and precision. The establishment of clear definitions and an understanding of the concepts being discussed is the cornerstone of constructive and truthful conversation. Words possess immense power. They shape your perception, influence your beliefs, and impact your actions. A discerning approach to language, an appreciation of the potential for manipulation, and a commitment to honest dialogue are essential in navigating the complex terrain of language in your everyday life. As you contemplate these intricacies, remember that the true essence of communication lies in understanding and unity, transcending manipulation and fostering genuine connections among individuals. The intricacies of your language serve as a reminder of the importance of clarity and the power of shared understanding. Thank you so much for watching our videos, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the like button. We appreciate your support and enthusiasm for the planetary ascension. It means a lot to us that you are interested in this important and transformative topic. We are constantly working to bring you new and exciting content related to the planetary ascension, and we are thrilled to have you along for the journey. As we continue to explore this fascinating subject, we will share our insights and discoveries with you. We believe that by coming together and sharing our knowledge, we can help to usher in a new era of consciousness and understanding on our planet. Thank you again for being a part of this community, and we look forward to sharing more with you soon.